According to the Book of Jubilees, Africa includes Western Europe, Britain, the West Indies, and of course the continent of Africa. Africans are Shemites, descendants of the firstborn son of Noah post-flood. The continent of Africa is shaped like a head because the book of Exodus says, Israel, the land and the people, is my firstborn son. And the firstborn son always gets a double portion. That's half the planet. And as descendants of Shem, they are the leaders. So when we reverse Pangea, we see that all the continents were once linked. And what we see is that the West Indies was once around the area of the Gulf of Mexico, just the outside of the head of Africa. And this is also where the Azores are, or Atlantis. Yes, Atlantis. How do we know? Well, there were 7 streams in Shinar, or Atlantis, but it has since gone into the sea. The area has also been called the Bermuda Triangle, where people and boats, thousands and hundreds of thousands, disappear. I wonder why. Also, the evidence of the 7 streams, or the 7 Gulf Streams, if the island did sink or is in that area still, it's indicated by 7 streams. How do we know? Because Isaiah 11 and 15 says that when the African diaspora returns from North America, Yahuwah will make desolate the Sea of Egypt. That's the Atlantic Ocean, or the Egyptian Sea. And he shall lay his hands on the river with a strong wind, and he'll smite the 7 channels, or the 7 streams, so that men shall pass over dry shod and go back to Africa. Just like in the day they came out of the land of Egypt. So it's the second Exodus. So my theory is, this is where Jamaica is. Jamaica is part of Atlantis. Atlantis was Shinar. Watch my other videos on the lands of Shem, Ham, and Japheth on YouTube. And so Jamaica is part of Shem's land of Shinar, or Atlantis, and so it is part of Africa. Eber, or Hibernia, was the grandson of Shem, whom Britain was named after, called Hebrides, Scotland, England, and Ireland. Ireland was even once called Hibernia, Iboricum, or Hebericum, a stronghold of the Hebrew. Iberia was also a name that Spain was known for. And Brit, for British, means land of covenants. So it's covenants that Noah and Abraham made with Yah, which the line of Shem was to keep. It's also the land Abraham came out of. Genesis 15 says Yah made a covenant with Abraham to give him the land from the Erythraean Sea, or the eastern sea of Arabia, to the river of Egypt, or the Ethiopic Sea, or Atlantic Ocean. And Ur, for Urland, or Ireland, means light or flame. And the Brits were called Kastim, or Chaldeans, but the Hebrew is Kastim, K for calf, or light, or menorah, like a burning bush. So Oxford University says Britain was once stalked by lions with manes 25% bigger than the lions in Africa today, a supersized version. Hence, lions are everywhere in sculptures in Britain. It's part of Africa.
I have brought to you again another story of how the black emerged, how the black became the chosen, how the black went on a journey when they were captured, when they were taken. But the origin of the black can't be denied. The truth about the black race cannot be taken away from them. I've compiled a couple of videos for you. I've done research just to let you know. Maybe some of you may know, but for some that do not know, I have done this research to let you know where the origin of black began from and the journeys that they took. And now it looks like the black has no race, has no direction. No, they have they have a journey, they have a direction. They are a peculiar race. Come along with me, let's go watch this video and I'll be right back. You'll be shocked to know that the continent of Africa is wider and bigger than what it is now. But you find out in this video. Credits are given to our content in this video. I'll be right back. Don't go nowhere.
And slaves were brought from so-called Western Europe and Britain, because all of Western Europe is part of Africa. It's called the continent, just like Africa is called the continent. And they were brought as early as 700 BC during the Assyrian captivity. More recently, in 1625 onwards, Cromwell removed 100,000 Irish children as slaves to the New World, and about 700,000 Black Irish from the land during the time of Oliver Cromwell and King James II. What did Britons look like? Well, according to books like Origins of the Anglo-Saxon Race, in the area of Britain, there was a larger percentage of brown people in England extending towards Warwickshire or Avon. The inhabitants of this isle are generally well proportioned, and their complexion is for the most part black. They are not obliged to art in forming their bodies, for nature never fails to do her part bountiful to them, and perhaps there is no part of the habitable globe where so few bodily imperfections are to be seen, nor any children that go more early. I've observed them walk at the age of 10 months. Here, the counties of Hertford and Buckingham have people as dark as in Wales. All investigation goes to show that this brunette or brown outcrop is a reality. So they have black and brown people. Ancient and modern Britons. Black seems, however, to have been a Scot, and accordingly his swarthy complexion was quite in keeping with his supposed descent. From him it may be assumed those Morramars of Fife, who came to bear the name of Macduff, are also descended. Okay, and then some From Whence Come the Black Irish, by John Williams, a Jesuit priest, describes a little-known fact that Black Irish and Scots were deported and enslaved to Jamaica. These are the Black Indigenous Europeans forgotten by most historians. And when we look at their descriptions, we look at Gord was brown, Grant black, Kennedy, Edwards, McLean, McPherson also black, and then there's the Macduffs. The Macduffs, the sons of the Black. We see a specimen so recently as the reign of Queen Mary, mother of King James, in the person of Mr. John Spence, murderer of Lorne Darnley, King James' father, who descended from Macdoob, like the Black Douglases and other Scoto-Pictish. Those were the Macduffs who desired to retain political power of their ancestors and gradually identified themselves with the winning races, the Normans and others. Black Danish or other kindred stock. The 10th century Kenneth, king of Alban, who was known as Doob, Niger, or the Black, seems, however, to have been a Scot, and the Sephardic Jews were known to be black. A swarthy, browner-skinned woman in these pictures here seems to emerge from a National Gallery X-rayed picture, revealing a woman who now appears to be a black or brown-skinned woman, which the literature from that time describes as being swarthy skin. So Queen Elizabeth was swarthy, brown-skinned. Again, in conclusion, Europe, the West Indies, and Africa are all Africa, are all one continent, and all the place of the African diaspora, a dark black to brown skinned people, originate from these lands and are indigenous to these lands and are the rulers of these lands. All right, so don't let anybody miseducate you. You are a nation of kings and priests.
This man exposes the truth about the Bible.
Zephaniah or Zephaniah, a Negro Israelite, a son of Cush. Zephaniah means Yahweh hides. Now, Zephaniah's father was named Cushi, and Cushi as an adjective that means black. In both Hebrew, it means black, and in Greek, it means black. Now, Cushi is an affectionate term for a Negro of Ethiopian origin, derived from the biblical land of Cush. And it is an area that was alongside the Niger River. And if you actually look at ancient maps in 1736 and ancient maps in 1747 of Africa, you'll find a country called Negro Land and the Kingdom of Judah. This is of utmost importance for us to understand how Yahweh is gathering the 12 tribes that are scattered abroad. Because what actually happened is in this Gulf of Guinea in Western Africa, European slave ship holders, they were Ashkenazi slavers. They were of European origin. They were Western Mongols that had infiltrated Britain and mainly Portugal. They were the Ashkenazi slavers. They were wealthy merchant slavers that went down to the coast of Guinea. They employed Mohammedan trappers, Islamics, to go into the kingdom of Judah and Negro land and take the royal house of Judah captive in slave ships, as it's recorded in the book of Deuteronomy, and bring them over to America, and they became known today as what? African Americans.
Many black Americans fail the lineage test. Comment truth to Ask Israelite Bot now.
And then you get to your transatlantic slave movement. But don't start at the ships on the west coast of Africa. That's all you're going to get in your democratic American public re-education system. And it just troubles me. Even blacks in this country aren't educated enough to go further back. Do you know how many blacks in America have been lost to Islam? It's outrageous. That's not your tribe. Your tribe is Judah. Muhammad's tribe enslaved you. Why would you convert to Muhammad's tribe when you're of King David's tribe? Don't convert to the tribe that enslaved you and then sold you to Ashkenazi ship merchants. More black Negroes have been lost to Islam in the 20th century than any other believing, Bible-believing group. It's outrageous. Because they don't want you to know who you really are and what tribe you're from. But you're not from Muhammad's tribe. Never were. Never were. You are a regal Negro class from the royal house of Judah. Amen. It's outrageous to me. Islam is not the black man's religion. It's for those of the Banu Hasham clan of the Quraysh tribe. That's who it's for. It's not from the tribe of Judah. Never was, never will be. It was never the religion of the Negro nomads in Africa because they were exiled from the kingdom of Judah. In Joel chapter 3 verse 6, it talks about these indigenous black Africans in collusion with the Ashkenazi because they were selling the Negro house of Judah to the Greeks. And who did the Greeks? The Greeks, they invented democracy, didn't they? Didn't they just? You see, Africans weren't selling their own people. They were selling a tribe that had encroached upon their land a higher educated, regal class that had judges, coppersmiths, goldsmiths, and all of this, and they did not assimilate in, and they wanted their stuff, and they wanted to get paid by Islam, and Islam wanted to get paid by the Ashkenazi ship merchants. The Igbo tribe of Africa, they're Jewish. If you were to look, just look at old maps of the African slaving maps. There's an old map of, I think it's Guinea in maybe in the 1720s, 1730s. There's this old map, and it's called a Slave Coast map. Look on that. It's the Slave Coast map of Guinea, 1736. And you look on the West Africa map of 1747, and it says right on the West Africa map of 1747, Kingdom of Judah. Right there on the map. On the 1747 Slave Coast map, Desert of Seth. Well, who was Seth? He was Adam and Eve's third son after the death of who? Abel.
Let me start by saying the continent of the world that you're seeing today has been depleted. Because, few weeks ago, I was reading the news, the UN, the African AU were telling the UN and the world, they were saying that they want the original map that depicts the totality of each continent, and that the black continent, the African continent, is bigger than what we're having now. And they are saying they want the map that they used to have in the 1940s. They were referring to 1940s and 1960s. But guess what? Even the map of the 1940 is not the original map. Yes, some of us know that. The map, over time, over the century, began to shrink. Some places that you see now used to be land. This is not new, but I know it's new to some people. So let me just permit me to say all of this. Some of those places you see as rivers now used to be a dry land. Some of those places you see are the western part. This, what we call Middle East, used to be part of Africa, joined together so that you can go by road and go to the upper part of the Middle East that we know today. And guess what? London, that is Britain, and some of the European parts, they used to be black. They call them Africa. Are you shocked? Well, some of you were not shocked, because I've been bringing facts to buttress everything I'm saying. So I'm not just talking without evidence to that. As a matter of fact, Britain that you see today, they are blacks. Some of this Scotland, Ireland, some of those places are regions where you have the black and the Jew. When I say Jew, mark my, because they are black, those regions were occupied by black folks. And guess what? Some of them are the remnant. They are part of the Jews that the Bible recorded. Before British came to take over all of those places and make it look like, hey, you have white folks. No. They're mostly populated by black people. Even London, or let me say Britain, that you know today. And I'm sure you've seen all of this in the video you've watched. Then, as time unfolds, as the world changes, you see separation, you see a lot of things happen. Africa is the firstborn of God. Africa that's what we say, is the mother of all creation, is the father of every race. And that is the truth. And that's why it looks like Africa used to be like double portion of any continent you see, double portion before things the air begin to shrink, and some parts were taken out of Africa. But it doesn't stop the fact that Africa as a continent is where the Israelites lived, where they belong. Before they were taken, before they began to move all over. And this episode has come to show to you that the truth is there, is lying down. If you care to research, you will find it. If you care to do your research, look at those books that were shown. There are books that you should get and read for yourself. Someone said before, and I said, you are depending on ChatGPT that people should read. For crying out loud, you can learn through a lot of means. Book is there, online reading is there. Social media is one of the tools to read. ChatGPT is one of the tools to read. Someone was saying that you depend on ChatGPT. They are all tools for enlightenment. They are all tools for civilization, because when the deception started, there were also channels and tools that they used to deceive people. Even books. Who would have imagined or believed that even the map of the world that we are seeing today was adjusted to suit their narrative? Do you believe that? 1947 map is different from the map we're having today. It has been changed like 2-3 times. So if the map can be adjusted, therefore books that you read can also be adjusted. Also, ChatGPT can also be used to mislead you. But if you know how to properly decipher and decode and make even AI to respond to what you're saying, there are ways to do it. So everything and anything can be manipulated, but in all the manipulations, you can still see the fact, the truth. And that is what I'm saying. In the books, in online reading, in ChatGPT, whatever you want to do, whatever medium you want to use, you can still decode some truth. Also, let me let you know, even the Bible has been adjusted to suit some narrative. I always say that. But in all of it, you still see some truth that they can't change, that they can't help. The Bible you have in Hebrew is different from the Bible you have in English. I hope you know that. But guys, let me know what your views are, your perceptions. Let me know what you think about all of this. The narrative you've watched, the truth about the black race, how important they are. The Jew, they are the real Jew. They are the called, the chosen one that God has ordained. And that is why the persecution you see, they are all written, they are all envisaged, they are all prophesied. But a time will come, and this is what those people are afraid of, that the black will rise in the glory, in the strength, and the splendor. The blacks are king, they are Jews, they are rulers. That is who they are. Thank you guys for watching. If today is your first time, do it to subscribe and like this channel, because I've taken your time and I want to hand it here. Subscribe, stay in peace, stay in love, until I come your way again. Bye-bye.